The execution was set for midnight. In the heart of Vale, a city where magic was outlawed, a young woman named Vale stood on the gallows, her wrists shackled in cold iron. A hush fell over the crowd as the High Inquisitor stepped forward, his voice echoing through the square. Vale, you are guilty of harboring dark magic and sentenced to death. The chains around her glowed with runes, designed to suppress her powers. But Kara knew something the Inquisitors didn't. Her magic wasn't just dark. It was alive. As the noose tightened around her neck, a whisper curled in her mind. Do you wish to live? Kara's pulse quickened. She had heard this voice before, always in her nightmares. Say the words, and I will set you free. She hesitated. Accepting this offer would mean surrendering to the Shadow Pact, a forbidden magic that could corrupt her soul. But as the executioner reached for the lever, Kara made her choice. She whispered, I accept. Darkness exploded from within her, shattering the gallows. The crowd screamed as Kara's chains melted away, and black tendrils lashed out, pulling her into the void. She was shadow-bound now. And there was no turning back. Kara awoke in the ruins of an ancient temple, deep in the ashen wastes. Her body felt different, stronger, but the whispers in her mind were louder. The Shadowlord had marked her. She had become his vessel, a weapon of darkness feared by even the Inquisitors. But she wasn't alone. A hunter named Raiden Falk, a former knight-turned-bounty hunter, was already tracking her. He had been hired to destroy her before she lost control. She's marked, Raiden muttered, examining the destruction left at the execution site. She won't last a week. He didn't fear the Shadowbound. He had killed one before. And he would do it again. Kara knew she couldn't outrun the Inquisitors forever. She needed control. Deep in the ruins, she found an ancient mirror, one that pulsed with shadow magic. The whispers became a voice. You belong to me now, Kara. A figure stepped from the glass, the Shadowlord himself. He was neither man nor god, his form shifting like a storm of ink and smoke. Why did you save me? Kara demanded. The Shadowlord's golden eyes gleamed. Because you are my chosen vessel. And together, we will burn Vale to the ground. Kara clenched her fists. No. I will never be your weapon. The Shadowlord smiled. You already are. A shadowy mark burned across her wrist. The deal had already been made. And breaking it would cost her soul. Raiden caught up to Kara in the ruins. He found her staring into the abyss, the mark of the shadow curling up her arm like black fire. She's changing, he murmured. If she turns, there won't be a way back. He aimed his crossbow, the silver bolt glowing with holy light. Kara sensed him before he fired. She turned, her eyes now black with power. You don't want to do this, she warned. Raiden hesitated. He had seen fear in people's eyes before. But Kara wasn't afraid. She was terrified of herself. "Let me help you," he said, lowering his weapon. Kara shook her head. "It's too late." The shadows behind her moved. The Shadowlord had arrived. Raiden and Kara fought side by side against the Shadowlord's minions, twisted creatures from the void. But with every strike, Kara's power grew. And she was losing herself. Raiden saw it in her eyes. The whispers had become commands. She gasped, clutching her chest. The Shadowlord's voice echoed through her mind. "You were never meant to resist, Kara. You were meant to rule." Raiden made a decision. He reached into his satchel and pulled out an Inquisitor's dagger, enchanted to sever dark magic at its source. Kara's eyes widened as she realized what he intended to do. "No," she whispered. But Raiden didn't stop. He plunged the blade into her chest. Dark energy erupted from her body. Kara screamed. The Shadowlord howled in fury as the bond shattered. The darkness began to consume itself, pulling the Shadowlord back into the void. But Kara was dying. Raiden held Kara in his arms as the ruins collapsed around them. The mark of the shadow faded from her skin, but the damage was done. She was free. But she had minutes to live. "You did it," she murmured weakly. Raiden clenched his jaw. "There has to be a way to save you." Kara smiled. "There isn't." She placed a trembling hand on his chest. Promise me you won't let them use this magic again." Raiden swallowed hard. "I swear." Kara exhaled softly. And then she was gone. The night sky burned with the last remnants of the Shadow Pact. Raiden stood alone, his heart heavy. The war between light and dark was far from over. But tonight, one soul had been saved. And that was enough.